More than 1,200 caravans are stolen in the UK every year, which is frightening. But what's even more frightening is only 3% of them are recovered. So out of 1,200, that's 36. Serious subject today, folks. We're talking security here. Made a few notes, but I will just put out a disclaimer that I'm not a policeman or a security man. My stats might not be as up to date as perhaps they'd like to be, but just a bit of information that I found out doing my research on the internet. So hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all keeping well, and a big thank you to all the new subscribers that have recently joined. That's fantastic. And of course all the existing ones who support the channel week in, week out. I really appreciate it. If you are brand new around here and you haven't done so yet, then please hit that subscribe button right this minute. Now, go on, do it now, because as mentioned before, more than 75% of people that watch our channel aren't subscribers, but they seem to keep coming back, which is nice and much appreciative. So go on, hit subscribe, give us a like and leave a comment, and all those things really help the channel. Amazingly, you might not realise this, but unless you're a YouTuber yourself, the amount of work and effort that goes into making these videos is immense, and mainly we do it, or I do it, because it's a bit of a hobby, really enjoy it more than anything else. I certainly don't do it to earn money, that's for sure. So I'm just going to give my Caravantastic mugs a quick plug. So if you own a caravan and you're one of the unlucky 1,200s, chances of you getting your caravan back are pretty slim. So I definitely feel where security is concerned, you know, it's a classic example of prevention is better than cure, because if it's gone, you probably ain't going to see it again. Sad, isn't it? Now, it doesn't matter what your caravan costs. You know, you might have just paid a few grand. Might have been your first caravan. It doesn't matter whether you paid a few grand or you've bought the latest top of the range Coachman or something, 45,000 quid's worth of superlative. Makes no difference, because it's still your pride and joy. You know, whatever you paid, whatever you could afford or whatever you wanted to spend. And if someone comes along and nicks it, it's a massive inconvenience, but it's your pride and joy. And if you are one of the lucky 3% that get your caravan back, it's not going to be the same, is it? For me, if this got nicked, I don't know if I'd want it back, to be honest. And if I did get it back, I'd probably sell it and get another one. Too personal for me. Let's face it, they're easy to steal, aren't they? You know, they've got wheels on them for a start, and there's no engine. You ain't got to start an engine up. So if you've got a tow vehicle of any kind, whipping away a caravan ain't that hard, which is probably why so many get stolen. So the more that you can do to make theft in the first place very difficult, the better. I would also say that in the main, it's a planned operation, stealing a caravan, isn't it? And the sort of people that do it probably do it on a regular basis. So they'll be aware of the sorts of security that you may put in place. They'll also probably have been looking and watching you or your caravan for some time. And they may well know when you're away and the caravan is on its own, if you keep it on the drive. What gets me is I think we're lucky to keep our caravan on the drive, and I'll show you some of the reasons why in a second. But we used to keep our caravan at a storage yard not too far from where I live, and that had CCTV and good old security fencing and a gate that was locked. But the padlock was a code, a digital code. You know, just one of these combination lock things. And everybody that had a caravan there knew what the combination lock was anyway, which was hundreds of people. And they didn't just store caravans, you know, they had a storage unit so we could store furniture and stuff like that. So the amount of people that probably would have known the code, that's what always struck me as being a bit odd, really. You know, hundreds of people know the code to get in. So that's a bit of a scary thing. And the thing about CCTV, I think, is unless you are at a football match or in a shopping centre, shall we say, I don't think people monitor CCTV. It's a reactive thing. I think it's something that you go back to watch when you feel there might have been a theft or a potential event on your property. You don't sit at home watching your CCTV, do you? Certainly I don't. So a couple of things there to bear in mind. So let's start by having a look at some of the obvious ones. When you've just bought your caravan, It's a bit of an annoying thing because you've got to go and buy your Aquaroll, you've got to go and buy your Waste Master, you've got to go and probably buy some gas and batteries, and then probably equip it with, you know, knives and forks and cutlery and crockery and a television, all these things. It's all costing extra money. You know, I did a video on this. I think I called it Caravan and Motorhome Costs, you know, Can Spiral. I'll do a little link below to that. So that's kind of looking at all the things that you have to buy when you buy a caravan. But security is probably the most important. But you might say, well, no, the most important is an Aquaroll. Yeah, it is. So where do you stop? And that's kind of my point. I think the Billy Basic starter for 10 has got to be a wheel lock and a hitch lock. So let's have a little look at the wheel lock that we use. It's an Alco lock. I'll put the price underneath so you can see what these cost. The thing about these is they are unique to your caravan and your caravan wheel. So depending upon the make of your caravan, the lock will vary and have a different style. Primarily because it needs to fit the wheel that it's going to lock onto. But this has got a big threaded bolt that bolts onto the caravan that means that the wheel just won't turn unless that lock's removed or somehow broken. The next area to look at is the hitch lock. So again, not cheap, but pretty important. And the most important thing about a hitch lock, if you've already got one, you must really use the ball that comes with it, which goes into it where the tow ball would fit, you know, and the tow bar. If you don't put that ball in, I don't think the hitch lock's really up to much. Now, people will tell you that the professionals will find a way of just diverting that, which they do. I've seen scaffold poles with a hitch attached to them that just means they can clamp it onto your front of your caravan, don't even need to use your hitch. However, it takes time and it's an inconvenience. So with a wheel lock and with a hitch lock, already you're starting to put a potential thief off because this is going to take time now to overcome these problems. Another area which would make it really a pain in the backside for any potential thief would be a mechanism to lock your steadies. So like a locking nut on a alloy wheel. And Malenko, amongst other people, do these, provide these, and they're about 25 to 30 pounds each, or you may buy a set. You might only want to buy one or two, because you don't need to have four. Now, another obvious area is actually an alarm itself. There's a really interesting one called the Ultra PIR online. It's 80 quid, and it's something that obviously you would set up in your caravan, like we've got here. And what it does, it contacts key holders by telephone with a pre-recorded message or a text message that can be activated. And it includes a built-in 130 decibel siren, which can be silenced, together with the option of adding additional wireless detectors and sirens with improved wireless range. Right, before we go any further, let me just say my new favourite thing in the world ever is coffee. Now, I always like a coffee, but I just feel you can't get a coffee like you do when you're in France or Spain. Obviously, it's down to how it's made. But my new thing, and the answer to all of that for me, is coffee bags. Not being sponsored, I wish I was. Not being sponsored. Now, Sainsbury's do a brilliant fair trade coffee bag. It's got a chocolatey coffee sort of taste. It's not a mocha, but it's you just feel that little hint of chocolate in it. But it's not a mocha, okay? Tastes really good. And also Taylor's of Harrogate. They do brilliant coffee bags as well. This is a roast 6, just slightly too strong for me. I tried the roast 5s the other week. Perfect, nice and mellow, and just how I like it. So that's my new favourite thing. Are they cheap? Well, they're a lot dearer than instant coffee, but how do you put the price on a nice cup of coffee? Of course, one of the benefits of all of this is how it can impact on your insurance policy. I would put a caveat in to be careful, because obviously the more security that you have in place, like Alco locks, like hitch locks, like, you know, the locking nut on your steadies, a PIR, etc. When you tell your insurance company about these things, it's with a view to obviously bringing the policy down, because the chances of your caravan being stolen are probably reduced. However, I think the caveat would be that if you've told your insurance company that you've got these things, and then your caravan is stolen because you hadn't utilised them, so you'd not put the wheel lock on or something, that would probably make your insurance null and void. So I'm not saying don't get security devices, I'm saying get them, but for goodness sake, make sure that you utilise them and you do use them. Otherwise, what is the point really? Now, another really important area actually for any caravan owner is to register it with CRIS, CRIS. This is a national register for UK touring caravan keepers. We're registered, as you can see here, and every caravan has got its own unique identity number, and that proves that you're the registered keeper. You've got that 17-digit VIN, it's called, which is a number that's aligned to you as a recorded keeper. It can certainly help the police with enforcement. So we've got this, and what we also have is the VIN number marked on the caravan. You won't be able to see it. It's like an invisible ink, only shows up under ultraviolet light. But in a number of places which only we know, our CRIS number is on the caravan. So, you know, I would absolutely recommend everyone getting this. And again, from an insurance perspective, it's really going to help. So the other thing that we have, we like to keep our caravan at home now, because apart from the fact it saves me about £500 a year on rental for a storage yard, it's really handy because I can keep it maintained easier. I can wash it more regularly. We can top the battery up more often, you know, and keeping that charged. And if it's exceptionally cold, we can keep it heated if we want to. And it just makes the whole getting away at a moment's notice a lot easier. But I actually think it's as secure, if not more secure than it would be if it was down the yard. And one of the reasons for that is that we do have a good CCTV system around our property. So as you can see here, so the whole of our property is surrounded by cameras, and again you can view the cameras remotely from your telephone, from a laptop, an iPad, or wherever, which we find really, really useful. The cost of that is obviously a lot more, but it's our property as well as the caravan that it covers. So really useful, and we think a major deterrent for any would-be caravan thief. Now, the other thing that I think will really put a load of potential would-be thieves off is the security post that we've had installed into the drive. Not easy if you've got an existing drive, but we decided to have our drive replaced recently. And it was at that point that I decided this is a good time to drop a couple of security posts in, as you can see here. I don't think that they're ugly or anything like that. They slot into the ground really quickly and very easily, as you can see. And they've got a very good secure lock. Now, we've put two in place, primarily because we've got fairly wide drive here. So I don't think one on its own would probably be enough. And I just feel much happier with two. And the cost of those, I think they were about £145 off of Amazon. And then when the guy was just doing the drive for us, I just got him to dig a hole and drop them in and cement them in. So a really useful addition. Yeah, I don't think the caravan doors look fantastically secure. Certainly, you know, the locks are, I would say, well, there's only one of them, and they don't look to me like they'd be that difficult to leverage open. If people wanted to get into your caravan, I don't think it'd be that hard. We've decided to put on an extra little locking device here. It's a Malenko door frame lock. These are about 45 quid, and you know, you can install one of these in about 10-15 minutes. It's so quick and easy to put in, and it's probably one of the best purchases we've made. I just think it's another deterrent. So CCTV around the property, and a couple of security posts with very strong locks on, together with a hitch lock, together with a wheel lock, you know, together with your CRIS system, together with PIR in the van, and with a lockable steady. Yeah, you're making a thief's job a bit of a nightmare. The other thing to do is fit a tracking device. It's about 250 quid. If you've got a tracker in your caravan and it's stolen, obviously you'll be able to see where it is, and the police should be able to identify that and recover that probably more quickly than ever. So you can buy trackers much cheaper than that, but a good tracker is going to cost you upwards of £200 anyway. So thanks very much for watching. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and leave a comment about security. Very interested in that. And whatever happens, as they say on the telly, don't have nightmares, do sleep tight, preferably in your own caravan. Bye for now.